to show you a cool new tool I found today called Gumloop. If you're an indie builder or a no-code builder, you're probably familiar with a tool called If This Then That, or another one called Zapier. It's basically like it can connect to different things, and if a certain event happens, then it'll go ahead and pass information between different things. You have various triggers. Gumloop is like that in that it can do those things, and it can get data from different places, but it also connects AIs together. And so you can use a whole bunch of different models. There's a bunch of pre-built functionality that's AI-based built into it. And you can pretty much build an application just using Gumloop. So if you know how to code, and if you don't, either way, I think it's actually a really great tool to use. The reason being is that even if you know how to code, you can definitely do a prototype quicker, see if something works before you go and build it out yourself. I wouldn't necessarily like host an entire infrastructure today on Gumloop, but I do think that they might be heading that way. I did have a chat with the CEO through Twitter, and I'm really impressed with it. They're a Y Combinator company, pretty much brand new. But if you want to use it, they have a free account you could sign up for to start using it. And if you do sign up for a paid account, I have a promo code that gets you 20% off. It's Gumloop CS, my initial CS. And so if you use that, cool thing is I get some money too, but you also save 20% off your subscription. I have a paid subscription, and I would have done this video either way, so it just worked out. But I think it's something you should look at. And I'm going to just dive into it and give you an example of what I did with it. All right, so first we're going to start with the homepage. This is Gumloop's homepage. It's actually, I think it's really well made, the look of this thing. And just I have up here also, If This Then That, which you are likely familiar with. Obviously they have apps and things like that. They've been around longer. And I'm sure it has some AI functionality built into it now as well, and also Zapier, which they're all very similar, but different in some ways. But anyway, Gumloop has these workflows that you can do with AI. There's a bunch of pre-built stuff that lets you, connect to different services. You can see all the different ones you can integrate with. And what I'm going to do in this example is actually going to be based on one of my favorite YouTubers, Marcus Brownlee, MKBHD. He's like the GOAT of tech reviews. 19.3 million subscribers on his YouTube channel. So he makes these great videos. They're awesome. And as you look at the time on these things, you could see I haven't watched all of them, but I watched a lot of them. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could build a summarizer that would watch these YouTube videos and summarize these things and tweet about it? So creating a summary account. So I decided to go ahead and see if I could make an account on X that summarizes the content from these videos. So as you see, I have no followers, no affiliation with, and I really like him a lot. Everyone should watch his channel. So I'm not trying to take his content, but I am trying to create a summarization, or at least a proof of concept. So basically this is the result of this. Ran through Gumloop. So basically I have a summary of this video here, this last video, the Pixel 9 series. And this summarized overall the entire, 13 minutes of video into this one little block of text, and links to the original video here. And then I created a tweet thread that went ahead and gave a more detailed summary, a breakdown, like step by step throughout the video. And then I created this, like, if you enjoyed this thread, go ahead. That's kind of, and repost it and follow this account. So anyway, and then here is a thread that was within the thread that was linked to, that was also created. And this is all out of one run out of Gumloop, which is like a summary step by step of that video, and creates all these different parts, it's very short. It's only 6. But the cool thing is, like, if you don't have time to watch the video, you just want to get the gist of how I felt. Like, as you know, you might know about the Humane AI pin. Like, he totally destroyed that one, and one of the other AI devices. Kind of funny, but so you could just see it in a tweet format and just quickly glance. And then if you want to watch the whole video, it's right there and you can link to it. So I did this all through Gumloop, created this automation to do this. And I figure if you want to see how the tool works, this is fairly complicated, and I think it would be a good example. So I'm going to show you how I did it now using Gumloop. Okay, cool. So this is the first thing you see when you get into Gumloop. Once you have an account created, you have the hub, and you won't have any flows to start with. And a flow is essentially like a program, more or less, or a bit of functionality. And you can link these things together, and almost like functions. They could be called externally, like this would be like an external function. But basically, yeah, let me give you an example. So I created the first flow, which is grab latest video. And the way this works is this flow takes a URL, an input, which in this case is like an RSS feed of the channel. And then it passes that output into this code, which is a bit of Python that I wrote. And basically all it's doing is it's looking at the URL for your RSS feed, grabbing it and getting the contents back, and then looking for the most recent video on the channel. So every channel on YouTube has an RSS feed, and what it's doing is it's saying like, hey, what's the latest video on this channel? And then it returns that URL of the latest video off to this other function, that outputs the latest video URL. So the reason that this is its own standalone thing is because I wanted to be able to use this in different places. So an example here was the MKBHD video summarizer, which we're going to talk about. But just showing you down here, there's they call these things subflows. So this is like a subflow, and you could just add them like tabs on Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. And that's essentially like the ability to like call a function within inside of your program. So you could have a bunch of these things calling each other from within the same file. But I kept that one agnostic because I didn't want it to work just with this one YouTube channel. I wanted it to work with any channel I have. So hopefully that's clear. Yeah, anyway, so that's the first part of it. So let me actually, before I get into all of this stuff, I just want to show you what I was trying to do. So this is MKBHD's channel. What I wanted to do is say, like, for each time he puts up a video, let me make sure I can see that video was put up. So look for what the latest video was that he posted. Watch this entire, in this case, 13-minute video, extract all of the text out of that from the transcript, and then go ahead and summarize it in a form where you could quickly read and see. So this would be an example of the summarization, and this is my MKBHD Turbo account that I created. So basically, and what I wanted to do is say every time that the video goes up, notice that there's a new one, and after you've done the work, write it back here so you can see that's the video link, and then put the tweet summary here that you just created so that we don't do it again. So that clearly, that should hopefully describe what I was trying to do. And so this is the high level of this entire function. It looks extremely complicated, but it's really, if you break it down into chunks and pieces, it's actually not that crazy. So each one of these parts that Gumloop has, these like little modules here, they call them nodes, and they all do different things. So we'll just quickly roll through what the nodes do. So you can do file reading, Google file reading, Google Sheets, website scraping, website crawling, Hacker News, Gmail. So it can connect to a bunch of different things. This is like very similar to if this and that, but you could also, there's very specialized ones I've never seen before, like enriching company information, big queries, so reading from like a SQL database. That's a Google database, Google SQL. Airtable, a bunch of other things. But the thing that's most exciting to me is the AI. So they have these AI connectors. So you can talk to it, talk to an agent, extract data, summarize things, categorize, score. You could have a browsing agent, so it could actually visit a website. You could generate images. So you could do all these things sort of programmatically here using this sort of visual way of doing things. And the cool thing is, I'll show you, I'm skipping some of these, but I'll show you, it also has running code, calling APIs, which, if you run code, basically you could run Python or JavaScript directly in here. So if there's something that you want to do and it turns out, hey, I can't do that, then you can go ahead and run your own code to do those things, whatever it is that you want within this. And it's like a little code snippet that runs as you need it. So I've done a bit of that here, and I'm just going to start from the top, and I'm going to try to zoom all the way so you could see. So the very first thing is it calls that other thing that gets the latest video. So I pass it the XML for the channel, which each channel has an XML feed. So that's what this channel's XML feed is. And it grabs the latest video using that code I showed you earlier. And then that feeds all the way, if you just follow this line, into here's a URL. And then over here, there's a list of URLs. So a list of URLs are coming from a Google Sheet. So you can, sorry, this is kind of hard to move around because it's all mouse. So this is reading from this sheet, and it gets all these URLs, and it creates a list out of them, which you see it's like the sheet 1 YouTube URL, that's the name of this sheet, or this column. And it passes it over to this thing, which over here says like, hey, is that URL that we just got from the latest video in that list? Simple question. So it's passing these two things in, and the code it's running, this is my Python code, is very, very simple. It just says like, get this list of URLs and get the URL, and then say like, here's this very simple function. It says like, there's two parameters, list of URLs and URL, and I'm going to create this value called is in list. And so it's basically that the answer to that value is equal to URL in list of URLs. So basically, if it is there, it will be true. It's just Python syntax. And if it's not, it'll be false. It just creates what's called a Boolean, which is a true false condition. And then I return that condition. So it'll just return true or return false, depending on if the URL is in the list or not. So, and then what it does is up here, you'll see up in this part here, there's this condition that says if is in list is true. So meaning if the condition is true, then the left side is the true condition and the right side is the else. So it's basically like if it's not, is over here, and if it's true, it's over here. So you can connect things to the true and you can connect things to the false. The cool thing is you can pass through these inputs and the value for them through this if else deal. So basically I'm passing the URL through this if else thing. And so if it's true, it's returning one thing. If it's false, it's returning another, but it's basically just returning the URL. So in the condition where it's true, meaning it's in the list, I just have it output as text URL done, and it outputs a string, and it's like sort of like logging it to the console, and then nothing else happens on this whole page. But if it is true, so if it is not true and it's not on the list, that means, okay, let's go ahead and do our thing. So it goes three different directions, or three different things are calling this value, I guess is the better way of thinking about if this were code. So the first and most important thing is it goes and gets the YouTube transcript. Now remember, that's one of these like node things over here. So blah, blah, blah. Is that here? Is that an AI one? It might be a loader. Yeah, it's a loader. So it gets the transcript, which basically I think there's a file, just downloads. And then I pass that into an AI thing that's a summarizer, and you could pick which model you use. And by the way, each one of these things will tell you how many credits it costs for, this is like this cost for advanced models, this cost for basic models. I might want to change that. I'm not sure if that's an advanced model here or not, but anyway, it's taking that YouTube transcript, this gigantic transcript of 14 minutes of talking, and summarizing it. And so I have a prompt here in the summarizer, which is here in this prompt template. And it basically says like what I want it to do. It's sort of like on ChatGPT, you have a prompt. That's what this is doing. And it's just saying, never use the I word. You're not actually MKBHD. You're just summarizing the video. Make no mention of the music. So sometimes it'll say that there's music playing. So don't say that. And then break each part into like this 1// and then the content, and then put this break at the end as this particular format. So it's, I did a couple iterations of this, but it successfully does that all the time. It breaks it properly. And then it passes it here to this other module. I keep calling it a module. It's called a node. So this other node called split text. So basically what I was doing is taking this giant string of text that's coming in here, this text type, and then it looks for this word break, which I told it to do. And then so anytime it sees a break, it goes ahead and assembles it into like a list. So basically it creates a list here, and that's what gets output as a list of text. Okay. So what this is doing here, it's a little bit tricky, but basically the reason I had to do this, if you remember, it's getting a list of text, and I'm having AI then do function calling on each one of the values in that list. So, for the first part before the comma, it has to do this evaluation. And so because I'm using function calling, I have to pass a function in each time this thing gets called. So as you see, the functions are coming in as a list of text, and the context in this case is the text itself, that little block of text, that part of it. This is the prompt here. But because I want the function to be called over and over again, the same function has to be called numerous times. What I'm doing is saying like, hey, duplicate this function as a list. So it'll have this function and then comma, the function and comma, for as many one of the values are as in the list. So basically this is matching to this list size, passing the function over into this Ask AI, which is effectively like talking to ChatGPT and prompting it. And so the definition here, I'm just saying, is like, hey, you have to do the following. And it's really just refining the responses, because if you get a response back, and you can't necessarily just use the list the way it is, you have to work on it. And so I'm having it run through a couple of different times. And most importantly here, I'm having it limit itself to 250 characters and making sure, if you look down here, I'm making sure that it puts these slashes here for each of the part texts, which are basically the strings that it's getting. And so this function takes a single part of an unformatted summary as input and returns JSON object. The object contains two fields. See, this is like, this is a typo actually, it's leftover, the part number. We're not using that anymore, but it's still in the description. Luckily it still works. But anyway, so I was trying it a different way before and returning two values. But anyway, now I'm combining the two things together, and then it passes that into Ask AI. And it says you'll receive a part of a summary as input. You return a JSON object. Again, I have the same error here. But basically, it then responds back with a JSON string, which is like a list. List of text is the JSON string, and then this then goes and splits it out and assembles this each of these into a tweet thread. So basically, 1 / and then the first part of the summary, 2 / second part of the summary, are going out as a tweet thread. And that is exactly what this is here. And this was done using that Ask AI function calling functionality. So this is like through that function as it is, it did all that stuff. So as you see, it works. And then, so now I've assembled this thread. Okay, I gotta show you something else first. So basically, do you remember this goes 3 different directions? One was the summarizer of the YouTube video. Another place it goes all the way up here. And that, I noticed it doesn't have a node for URL shortening, so I had to make my own. I'm using tinyURL to do it. And basically, this is just a bit of Python. It takes that long YouTube URL and shortens it. So that shortened URL gets fed down into this here, which is combining. So it's basically saying input 1, original video, input 2. So now if you go here to the very first, there's actually like a couple parts. So this is the summary of the entire thing, and then that link. And even though it has a YouTube link, it was actually a shortened URL that then got shortened again as a TCO URL by Twitter, or X now. But basically, yeah. So what it's doing is it's taking, there's another summarization. So the first one was to summarize and create a tweet thread out of it of like each of the logical parts of the video to create a tweet thread. Then I have another summarizer that says, hey, take that entire summary again, the original, take the entire transcript again up here, send it to this summarizer. And this summarizer is different. It says in 200 characters or less, summarize the opinions of this transcript in a clear and concise way. Be sure to communicate our opinion. Never use I or my. It's an outside point of view. The narrator is MKBHD, so it's okay to say MKBHD thinks or MKBHD says. And so it takes that entire transcript and creates a super concise summary of the video. And it does that same function calling thing that we talked about earlier, but I don't have to like combine it. I don't have to duplicate it because it only has to do it once. And then it creates this JSON key, response. The key is uncondensed copy because that's what it does over here. And then it takes that and passes it in here. So the first value is that, which is this, Google's blah, blah, blah. And then it adds the original video, as you see, and puts the link. So that happens. That input's here. Now the next thing it has to do, which is pretty cool. I'll go back into this. See, it says check out a more detailed summary. So that now links back to the other thread. So see this check out a more detailed summary of the video here. So that other thread that we created earlier is here. As you see up here, we were creating these tweet parts, these part of the threads. And then that became this JSON export here. And this is just like a console log output so I could see what it's doing, but then it creates a thread. So each one of those parts here in this earlier one, 1, 2, 3, 4, get assembled in this, and that creates another thread. So it does that first. And then since this one had called that value before it created this other tweet thread, so it did that one first, did the summary, and then appended here the summary, the video, and then did another tweet. This is another tweet thread. But basically the thread is number 1, do this summary. Number 2, tell it to check out the tweet thread here, which was the other thread that we created. And third, if you enjoyed this, like and retweet the first post and follow MKBHD Turbo, which somewhere here I say that right here. So those are the 3 inputs that creates the list that goes into this Twitter thread. So hopefully that was clear. I know it's a lot of stuff to cover, but basically, and then this output here, just remember I do these outputs as like a console log. So, so fun surprise though, that we're going to get into is that I learned that since I started making this video, MKBHD has actually put another video up. So we can see this thing run live and see if it works. So that's coming up right now. Okay, so you guys know the Bill O'Reilly, we're doing it live. We are doing it live. I am logged in under the MKBHD Turbo account, as I think you can see down here. And this is I did get it verified, which is cool. But basically, he has since, I've not refreshed this, but I know he put another video up. So this is the list of latest videos. If I refresh, this Google Pixel 9 Pro full impressions should be replaced by another one. Let's see, refresh. There it is. Google Pixel 9 Pro review, gimmick or good. So that's a new video. This one, 24 minutes. Interesting. So we'll see if everything still works. All right. So basically when it runs, it's going to get that URL value, and it's going to realize that it doesn't have it yet. And then everything's going to run on this else side of things. And hopefully you guys get to see that. I hope it works. All right. Okay, if you're ready, let's try run it. 3, 2, 1, run. The flow has started. All right, it's thinking. Get YouTube transcript is running. Summarizer is running. Summarizer is running. JSON values, create tweet thread. All right. Seems like it should have worked. All right, let's see what happened. Ready? I'm gonna go over here. Let's see if I'm gonna hit refresh. Hopefully we see a new tweet thread. Here we go. Womp womp. Something's wrong with this. Okay, well, mostly around. I'm going to see if I can figure out where that bug is, but clearly the first part worked. So the cool thing is, now if we run it again, I could show you what happens, because it's this third one is on the list here. I see that. That didn't work. So you'll see it just says URL done, because it just ran this, because it saw it on the list. So let's go. I'll see if I can go find that bug. So let's see if we can find it. Okay, so I did a little debugging on that, and it turns out it is actually a bug. So basically, if you look here, this is the one that creates the actual Twitter thread, and it's going down here. It says, look at the video here. That link was blank. But basically, I have it outputted. I use 2 different types of output. It's like console logging. One is a string, one is any type of output. And then, so if you look at those outputs, you'll see there's none, meaning it didn't return anything. So I wrote to them and told them I think I found a bug. It's a brand new company, so these things are expected. But in the meantime, we're gonna hack it. So I will show you. First, yeah, this thing. Let's see, how can we hack it? So I posted it again here. So we'll delete this one. Delete. We will delete this one. Delete. We'll delete this one. So now we just have this new thread that got created here. Maybe we got to delete this one. I have to delete a bunch of stuff. I gotta delete all these. Yes, I do. I have to delete these. So basically what I'm doing is I'm cleaning up the X, Twitter, get rid of these. Didn't have to do this, but it's just what I do. To get rid of these other old threads. And I'm just going to use the original one. I'm going to pass that link to the function. So this will be the one I use. So I could delete this and delete this. Cool. So this will be the one I use. So what I'll do, it's interesting because I've had to, oh, I also found this, there's a run history. So you can jump in and see all the output from every time you run it. So basically I had this before hanging out here somewhere that would pass in the URL to that list creator thing. Yeah, the original video. There's that input here. That's the original video. Yeah, the detailed summary. That's the one. So basically, we're going to undo this input. We're going to instead put a manual input, which I'm going to use this URL, OG thread. So I'm going to pass that into here. Bang. Get rid of that other link. So when it runs, it'll do that summary, create the link, and then link to the other thread. But now I don't want it to create another thread. So this is the one. Yes, this is the one that creates the thread. So if I just break this, this other stuff should happen. I'm going to put a note. Req bug is fixed. So, sorry, reconnected bug is fixed. So basically, this has to link to that. This is doing nothing. This is just an output. So it's not actually going to hurt anything. I don't want to have it not run through it again. But anyway, when it creates so it'll do the summary tweet. It'll compose the thread, which will be comprised of the summary tweet, which I hard coded here. Did I hard? Wait. I didn't. I thought it's weird. Maybe it didn't connect. See? There we go. Sometimes that happens. You think you connected, but you didn't. That's good. Good we saw that. So it's basically going to create the summary of the original video here. More detailed summary, which is the hard code to this tweet thread here. So it'll show you. Yes. So it'll look like this, except it'll be a summary of the new video. It'll have the tweet thread that is this one embedded within it, just like this. Hopefully they fix that bug. All right, now I have to do this, which is remove it, delete, because otherwise it won't run. And then hopefully when we come back, we'll see this tweet summary here. Oh, good one. Good catch. Google Writer. YouTube tweet summary. Oh yeah, that's because it's outputting. Outputting a list. But anyway, I'm just going to click this to that too. Oh no, hold on. We need to think. No, we want this one, which is actually not going to work because there's a bug. Should have been here. Well, we'll do it live. Let's just put it, Does this have to be a list? Hold on, let's see. Yeah, it has to be a list. So it has to go through the list creator. There's a couple things like that where why does it have to be listed? I'm sure it usually should be a list, but sometimes it won't have to be a list. Anyhow, so what we need to do is, because this is creating a new tweet here that takes the original video as one thing. Check out the summary here. So it's the first summary, the link to the longer thread here, and the third thing is this, and it outputs. Now this is just a plain old output, like a console log, and then this one here creates the thread. Problem is, it's going to create the. You know what we're going to do? I'm just going to copy and paste it because that normally I would connect this here to. I would connect this to this, or connect this to right here. Or no, to right here. And then that's what, yeah. See, it's interesting because it's like linking to the original thread, which I actually wanted to do the summarized thread. Anyway, we'll just let it run, and it's not going to put anything there, but I will do it myself later. So here we go. You ready? We're going to run it. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, so I can't just break it. That will delete it. How about that? Run. Then you can't just be fine. Goodbye. Goodbye. Yeah, so sometimes you can't just leave things hanging. That makes sense. All right, ready, run. It is running. It's running code. If else's. Google Sheet writing, getting a transcript, summarizing things, asking AI a bunch of stuff. Summarizing. So create a thread, which we talked about. It's doing this, blah, blah, blah. But it's okay. So ready. Now, if we go over to this, we should have it. 3, 2, 1, go. Yes. There's my, see, I hacked that in. See, that was this one down here. Boom. It worked. Cool. So now, what's next? Now, the spreadsheet, you want to bet? It does not have this link because it doesn't know that URL because it's not outputting, and the tweet thread thing isn't outputting the URL like it's supposed to. That's the bug. And it doesn't. So what I'm going to do instead, clicking around like crazy, I'm going to click this, and I'm going to hard code it because, oops. I bet they'll have this fixed before we put this next video up. But once we have this thing run, I'm going to put it on a task, and it's just going to run all the time. But now I'm going to do the thing, which is I'm going to say, hey, everybody. Okay, let's see. MKBHD believes Pixel 9 the series offers flagship hardware, mixed battery charging, consistent camera, strong software features, Google's finest work yet. Well, that's good. I didn't know that. So now I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go over to Mr. MKBHD. Let's see his video. Made a little summary. Def check out the original video. Boom. All right. And that's it. So I'm like the turbo guy. I got the turbo eyes. It's, it's fair use. I'm just summarizing his video. This is more of a proof of concept. I don't think this will be a big thing, but anyway, hopefully that explains how this thing works, or like shows you the power of it. It's a program that works really, really well. That has a bug that I actually can't fix because it literally doesn't output anything out of the bottom of these. This one's not connected, but basically it does nothing, as I showed you earlier. I'm going to save this. Yeah, and that's it. So you could pretty much do anything you want with this. Cool. So in summary, I think Gumloop is insane. It can do so many different things. I just want to run through a couple other things. We looked at the AI. You could categorize things. You could give things scores. You can extract a table. You could also talk directly to OpenAI if you don't want to just ask an AI. You can use OpenAI as an assistant using your own API keys, extract stuff from PDF files, analyze images. Like I said, browse the web as an agent, generate images, text to speech, speech to text. And then, so it's kind of broken up into like the core functionality, which is input, output, and notes, loaders, which is getting content or information in, modifiers, which are changing information, writers, which are writing information, controlling flow, which is the FL stuff we talked about, and then the advanced stuff, which is like sending an email, running code, calling API. So what I'm going to do when that bug is fixed is I'm going to turn this thing on to auto run, and I want to see if I could have it contact me every time it puts a new post up. I think it would be kind of cool. But anyway, like I will say MKBHD is one of my favorite reviewers out there. So, I want to make sure that people understand that I'm not him when I'm posting this. I put no affiliation. This is more of an experiment, but I do think there is an opportunity to summarize YouTube content and podcasts and things like that, because there's just so much out there and people only have 24 hours in a day. You can't listen to everything. And so these quick summarizations would be cool. I think there's an opportunity, especially on X or whatever, to build an audience around that stuff. But with this functionality, it's kind of like whatever you can think of, you can do. And what I like about it, I like coding. I like coding more with AI, but I like this for like a proof of concept, because I was thinking about doing this in Next.js, Vercel, hosting on Vercel, and then running an API that would do all these different things. And I could definitely do it, but like I think it was besides the learning curve on the tool, I think it was actually a faster experience once I got it going. And I know I could build this again in probably like an hour now, whereas before it took me quite a bit of time. But now I understand it, and I also really like the idea that my database is just a Google sheet. So it knows to run or not based on a Google sheet. If you want to have a real database, you could. Like I said, it has BigQuery and other things, other Airtable. You could use their database. So there's a lot of different. You wouldn't want to build a highly performant application out of this, but you can basically do keyword research. It has so many different things. Anyway, I love the tool. I think they're awesome. I think you guys should definitely check it out. In terms of the program I have, I get 20% off for you for your first month. The code is Gumloop, Gumloop CS. So use Gumloop CS, you'll save 20%, which everyone likes to do. And yeah, hopefully you guys try it out. But definitely they're the free tier, so go try it for free. No big deal. Anyway, I thought you would like the video, and that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.